Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and today I'm going to be doing an overview for our preliminary patch notes for 7.0. I was wondering when this was going to come out. Looking back at the previous expansions, it was usually the day before maintenance, but because we had a 48-hour maintenance, there was always some chance that this came out today. But I don't know, I was like, maybe they will, maybe they won't, but we have it here. So good news is you'll be able to get a few quest locations so you can park your character where you want to. It's also the final day for prep. If you're going to do something like your challenge logs, don't forget to do those. Set them up so you have the dungeon roulette ones and the regular dungeon ones, one from completion, fate ones. Just a couple of extra things that you can do today before the servers go down tomorrow morning. But with that, I'm sure we have a lot to read through, so let's get through with the patch 7.0 notes. Reminder that the normal version of the Arcadian, the raid, is 2 weeks after the official launch on July 16th. And then Savage and the new Treasure Hunt instance are going to be 2 weeks after that on July 30th. So you won't be seeing those things here. But everything else, as soon as early access begins, will be available. There's nothing that's held back from early access, other than your launch rewards as well. The ones for putting in the full game code, if you have like the collectors, that's July 2nd as well. So let's get through it. New cities have been added. At this point, we can kind of scroll through this. There's some great details. We have Tuliolal, we have Solution 9. We've known about this. We've seen screenshots of this. What else is there to really say? We've already seen, Urkapacho. We've seen Kozamauka. We've seen Yaktel. We've seen Shalawani, even if just a little bit. And we've seen Heritage Found. Worth remembering, there are 6 zones and there's only 5 here. Most people are assuming that the gate from the trailer leads to zone number 6, and that is going to be kind of our, big Ultima Thule or Tempest or, big kind of twist zone that we've seen. Although with Solution 9, who's to say it's going to twist that much more? Number of ether currents in all Endwalker areas has been reduced. Pretty normal thing for them to do, so it's not as bad for people who are catching up. New main scenario quests. We got Alphano and LSA. We got Galul Jaja. We've got Wuklamat and Aaronville. We've got and then whose name already escapes me, but that's because it's 6:53 in the morning and my brain is only barely functional as I sip my coffee out of this cup noodle cup. Yeah, that's the kind of morning we're having here. New side story quests we are going to be getting. Of course, we're going to have the quest sync features for the regular side quests, and the side story quests are going to have their own. Phandelin has bottled fantasy. Interesting. Oh, this is the File of Fantasia quest. Sweet. So for those who don't know, everybody's getting the opportunity to do another quest to earn a File of Fantasia completely for free. And this is supposed to be kind of like the introductory. What's funny is that bottled fantasy sounds a lot like a drug. And some might say that Fantasia addiction is a drug in itself. So this is really just like giving you your first toke. You're like, oh yeah, dude, just try it once. It'll be all right, man. You'll be fine. And literally from that point on, you're just like, must Fantasia over and over again. And you can do it right from level 1 too. So you can get that addiction going straight away. You just have to have the Science of the Seventh Dawn quest, which I don't think is available at level 1. I don't remember what level that quest is, but I think it's like 15 or 16 or something. Role quests, of course, we're going to be getting ones for all of the jobs. We have Uncouth Customers, which apparently, so this is like the prerequisite quest. This is regardless of role, you'll have to do this. And then you have Tank, Melee, Fizz Range, Magic, Healer, all of them for the different roles, same as we had in Endwalker. And in 7.1 or later, we will be getting a joint quest. So if you have them all done, then it's going to unlock one last little bit of story, a patch down the line. New job quest. So this is important. People are like, where do I log off for Viper and Picto? We knew that it was Ul'dah and Gridania, but now we have exact locations. Steps of Nald, X93, XY2 at the Worried Weaver, and Old Gridania, X8, Y10.3 at the Cheerless Hearer. So if you're looking for a location to log off because you're planning on picking up the jobs, then this might be the place to be. Bit of a question mark if I want to log out here or if I want to log out a zone over. I don't think it's going to affect the login, and zoning tends to take very long for the first like 10 to 15 minutes of the servers being online. So I'll probably just log out here because I'm going to be going right to Viper just because I'm cosplaying as the Viper for MSQ. And then we have, I already forgot about the Wachimeki Meki deliveries. These are the crafting and gathering equivalents. You know, these are the crafting and gathering kind of role quests, I suppose. And it's just about completing deliveries, and rewards include crafter scripts and gatherer scripts, and must first complete the quest Inscrutable Tastes before they can actually do it. You can see here, a little bit of EXP to level. So it's, oh wow, 240 gil. That's incredible. All right. And then there's the first quest. We have the oh my goodness, these names. The Zral Saj Metalwares. The Epistles by Pamika. I'm gonna, dude, these quests, it's a quest alone to figure out how to pronounce this. Zerol Ja Juice Craft, Shunye Apothecary, and Fish Fancies Danuhanu, which I think we already know what NPC we're gonna have for that one. And then on top of that, in 7.1 or later, if you've done all the role quests, you will also have a kind of joint quest at the end of it again. Requested materials can only be collected while undertaking the quest, and they won't show up in the logs. The location items must be gathered and delivered. Are viewed as kind of journal entries, so you can see them right here. It's still normal, still relatively normal stuff. Players can now temporarily hide the display of nearby player characters. We saw this displayed during the last live letter. You can choose to either just hide nearby characters from important quest NPCs, or you can choose to completely, additionally, you can choose to like create like a barrier around you while you're talking to quest NPCs, so you can see all the different NPC emotes and interactions. Again, they showed that during the live letter, so it'll make it easier to click and also easier to just see what's actually happening during your quest. Quest objectives that require following an NPC will now visualize indicators to help players avoid detection. That's very good. That tells us we will have those types of quests again, most likely, although they are using a quest that was particularly painful back in Endwalker, I believe, if memory serves, of this NPC, with the little Garlean jewel there in the middle. So, yeah, I think I know what quest that is. Indicators that players should not approach. You can see the direction she's facing, as well as the barrier around her, as well as the range of which you need to stay out of in terms of not approaching them. Players can now select icons on the duty list to carry out quest objectives. We saw this during the live letter as well. Players now adjust text auto advanced settings to apply only to voiced dialogue. I think that's actually a really good change, because that is the only dialogue I ever really feel like I need them to auto advance. But I don't want to constantly switch the settings back and forth, so big fan of that. Misinputs when completing quests that require entering phrases with chat mode. Say certain half-width and full-width characters will now be treated as the same character. Okay, just making the typing quests less annoying in case you make a mistake and then need to type it all out again. We have tribal quests, and now they're allied society. So we went from beast tribes to tribal to allied society quests. Now it says certain allied society quests. This is kind of like just like a post-Endwalker kind of rectification to those tribes. It doesn't sound like it'll be all of them. It just sounds like it'll be certain ones, probably the ones back from the older areas. Certain quest battles can no longer be undertaken using limited jobs. I guess people are doing some of them as Blue Mage. Interesting. New Tradecraft and Fieldcraft leaves added. Experience points have been nerfed if you're doing a level 90 or below one. As level 90 or above, this is a very normal thing, so you can't... you can stack up the leaves at the start of the expansion if you really want to, but... or, before the servers go down, but just doesn't serve much of a purpose. New fates. I assume this would be one of our super fates. It's the big enemy from the benchmark trailer. We have new gemstone stuff, of course, and we will be earning gemstones. They are raising the cap of gemstones to 1,500, as they said during the live letter. We have the shared fate tab again. Nothing new there. Fates grant bonus to experience will also grant that bonus to bicolored gemstones. That just makes the little crystal mobs that you fight there a little bit more valuable, because now they also increase your bicolor gemstone gauge. My phone just scared me to let me know that I have something to do today, so don't do that again, phone. Thank you. Game client will now respond more quickly when opening the shared... Oh my god. Dude, I haven't opened it in years, but yeah, I remember now. Opening that thing is terrible. It's one of the slowest UI experiences in the entire game, and I hate it. So... good to see that this... I hope it just responds like normal and it doesn't still feel like a slug. So, fingers crossed. Large-scale fates that take place at fixed locations will also now appear on the map as regular fates. Yeah, I get why they're doing that. It's kind of like a neat little flavor thing when it doesn't do that. But it is nice to just be able to see when zoning in, oh, hey, it's here. Let me go to it. You know what I mean? The head to tail, the whole damn thing. A finale most formidable, Devout Pilgrims versus Diva and Omicron Recall. So it's not all of them, mind you. These are specifically Shadowbringers and Endwalkers. So stuff like Ixion and Odin and stuff, and all the ones from the previous will still work that way. So I guess they're kind of trying to preserve it a little bit. But yeah, just some of the newer ones and the 7.0 large scale fates. Treasure hunts, this is kind of just normal. It's letting you know what the new ones are, the adjustments to the old ones, and then the tombstone adjustments. There will also be a chance for a teleportation portal to appear with Brock skin. So if you're looking to save maps for treasure dungeons, then Brack skin ones are the ones you're going to be looking to collect. Excitatron 6000 and Shifting Gymnasium Aganon will now be level synced. They're probably also going to be outscaled and obliterated as the previous ones have been as well, despite the fact that they have the level sync in there. To be fair, I've already soloed them as warrior, so not much of a difference there. Additional items will now be accepted for supply and provisioning missions, of course, because it needs to be increased in level. The new job symbols have been added to the charge category for the crest editor. Nice. New craftable items. We saw this house during the letter from the producer live. Following additions and adjustments have been made to subaquatic voyages, new areas, new items, max rank. Still can't believe that submarines survive in their current form and the devs don't have any issue with the amount of gill it brings in. I know that you all that have them love it, but you have to admit that you love it and are also surprised that they let it be that way. So, just saying. Ward classifications have been adjusted for residential districts on certain worlds. This will go into effect June 29th at 8 a.m. PDT, and then, June 30th, rest of the, for the time zones that'll have already moved on past that point. All worlds in Dynamis, Phantom, Sagittarius. Oh, in the Dynamis data center, Phantom, Sagittarius, Alpha, Raiden. Yeah. So wards 1 through 6, free companies, and then 7 through 20 are free companies and private buyers. 21 to 24, private buy. It's weird that, I get why this is different, like why it goes back to following the pattern, but it just looks weird. You know what I mean? When putting a list like that. But for any world that's not that, then you don't have to worry about that. It's not changing. The estate holder rights system has been implemented. Can now eject characters from the estate hall or garden and bar characters from entering their property. That has been a long time overdue. So glad to see that. And then this is just explaining how all of that works. Yeah, this has been something that's been long overdue. Free company master is the main right holder and may appoint up to 4 free company members as secondary rights. I almost said right shoulders. Still too early, as you can tell. The estate owner is the main rights holder. May appoint up to 3 tenants as secondary rights holders. The apartment or private chambers owned is the main rights holder and cannot appoint secondary rights holders. And that is for the sake of, being able to register someone as a bard character. So those are just the people who can do each and every single one of those things. When secondary rights holders with the setting enabled are present, characters on their blacklist may also be denied access to the property. That just makes sense as well. I don't know, it's just common sense stuff for me. Viewing the placard for a different plot before confirming the result of your entry will now remind you of the estate address of the plot you bid on. All right. Before confirming the results of your entry after. Well, it's after. So, okay, that's fine. It's just letting you know where you already have it. I guess that's good information to have. Design contest furnishings. We got the chandelier. We got oh my goodness, that's a bunch of stuff. Looks like, to be fair, this isn't all individual items, which if you showed this to somebody who was like, oh my goodness, housing, and they saw this, they'd be like, oh my goodness, you can do all of them. They'd be like, no, dude, that's just how it looks. It looks nice, but that's just how it looks. And then we got a little I like this. I like this little mini lookout station they got here with some couches and a telescope. It's looking nice. New furnishings have been added as well. That's funny. Just to have his painting up on the wall. You got Drippy, the little deer. Yeah, so you got a bunch of stuff. An axolotl on the ground, some scattered bottles, a nice new bed. All that nice stuff. Crafting facility furnishings can now be used by crafting classes up to level 90. In accordance to the addition of the increased character level cap, new striking dummies, which are clearly Solution 9 based. New orchestrion rolls have been added, new aquarium fish, new seed for flower pots, some of this stuff really standard. New prizes available for purchase, probably focusing on the glasses there in particular, which is, for the new Facewear feature. There's new opponents for Triple Triad. There's, players can now engage in new areas, card numbers, have been added to the item description. You know, normal triple triad stuff. Female Hrothgar, as many of you have probably already made one or looked at the benchmark, you are well aware that that was coming, so we're good there. Another hairstyle design contest winner, a couple of them have been added. So, you know, you got just from the front and from the back, looking good. And then just generally new hairstyles being added from the front and the back. Look, you got the man bun. You got the Warrior of Light hair right there. Somebody was just asking me about this hair, too. They're like, oh, is that going to be added to the game? And I was like, I don't know. There you go. You got that Warrior of Light hair. Following additions and adjustments have been made to the trust system. Kryl is a new avatar after you progress through the MSQ. The level cap for avatar NPCs has also been increased by progressing through the main scenario. Avatars can reach a maximum of 100. And new glamours will be unlocked when they reach level 100. Fairly normal stuff there. Dawntrail category for duty support also makes sense. Changes to Wondrous Tales. This is all standard stuff. They add new things and make other adjustments. Let's see if there's anything else different. Following duties have been added. Yeah, it's all the extremes, level 91 to 99 dungeons, level 100 dungeons, Endsinger's Aria. Yeah, this is all really standard stuff. However, these groupings are something that are, you know, a little bit newer. They've started doing groupings, you know, with Wondrous Tales, but these groupings are obviously in addition to those changes. Eden's Gate, Verse, or Promise are now entire categories instead of two separate categories for like the first two or the second two. Yeah, they're doing away with that. Any of the Alliance raids in each expansion are their own category. That is solid. And those are all the changes. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, there's no reason to have that many different objectives when you can just not... It doesn't make sense to force people into like very specific ones, some of them which have worse queue times. They just naturally do. Dawntrail entries for sightseeing log, new Skywatcher NPCs, Island Sanctuary getting some adjustments here. Just a little bit of quality of life by the look at it. Selecting the plus button, players can now choose whether set agenda or supply and demand is the default window that opens. That's nice. Sanctuary gathering log can be opened via material allocation. Material allocation window will now save sorting, and when selling materials in bulk via the enterprising exporter, the quantity set may now be saved for future transactions. It's a little bit of quality of life for people still doing Island Sanctuary or even getting into it late. Battle system. If I recall correctly, if there's anything here, they're just going to say to go to the job guide. If it's been updated yet, I don't remember if they update it now. I'll just read down because that'll answer my question. Level cap going up to 100. Viper being added, Pictomancer being added. We already know the quest locations. New job actions have been added. Actions and traits have been adjusted. Layout for the Blue Magic Spellbook interface. Interested to see how that'll look. Oh my. All right. Well. Okay. So on one hand, good because this is silly. I've seen people send themselves off the ledge, especially in P12. That was a very popular place for something like this to happen, where the change in position for these two LB3s would actually cause that. But it was so funny, and I don't want to lose the funny, but we've lost the funny. The funny's gone. I kind of want to go into P12 and just LB3 and die once, just for old time's sake at this point. But it's okay, because Dragoons will still be able to just jump off the edge, so there's that. I mean, you could still gap close off the edge the old-fashioned way, so just be careful. Certain status effects granted by class and job actions will now be removed when changing areas or entering an instance. Will now be removed. Because that makes me think like tank stance. Granted by class and job actions. I mean, like, yeah, that's the one thing that... Because this is one of the most annoying things is when you forget you're sinking down and you got to turn on tank stance again. So I guess that's just the PTSD of that. But it's specifically in... Oh, no. That makes sense. That's everything. The effects of certain monsters and NPCs have been adjusted. Armory bonus granted below... Okay, I have to PSA about the armory bonus. There's still a lot of people who think you need to be max level to get armory bonus. You do not. Armory bonus is granted for any job that is under your max level job for Disciples of War and Magic. So if you're level 3 on one class, all of your other classes have the armory bonus until level 3. So I've seen some people saying part of their plan is to get to 100 so they have a better armory bonus for Viper and Picto because they think they're losing it. You're not. But for any job below level that is below level 90, not level 90 and below, as I thought it originally said, it's now been doubled. This will make Viper and Picto way faster. If you're doing the Southern Front, that's another 50% for the leveling process for the expansion launch. Dungeons, anything that, you know, all the kills that it applied to before. So it should be a good time. In accordance with the increased level cap, new world and preferred world characters now apply to all jobs at level 89 and below, so up to level 90, of course. New enemies, we've got, what is that abomination on the left? I thought that the new cactars, because we've got a couple of them. We've got this one, which is frightening, but we've also got the barrel tender. This one's also pretty buff, too. That gecko is also, or whatever that thing is also terrifying, but I like it. This thing is, I think this is a pineapple. I think this does like a pineapple and a praying mantis merged together with a ghost in the forest and became whatever the heck that thing is. That thing's gonna haunt my nightmares. New dungeons being added. Level 81 dungeon right there. Level 83. I mean, I actually don't know. I assume this is the 80. This is the 81 dungeon. I know that for a fact. Nice rainbow. This, I assume, is the level 83 dungeon, and it's leading up to the first trial, which is almost certainly against Valagarmanda, or Tritok, as some of you may know them. And this is probably like the 87 or 89 dungeon or something like that. Also, fun little bit, this was noticed in Mediator. I think Frosty pointed this out. After beginning a boss encounter in dungeons, newly introduced in 7.0, the shortcut warp will take you to the boss area's entrance. Yeah, none of that running to the previous boss and then running to the new boss. No, they finally fixed that all these years later. In accordance with the increased level cap, players can now gain experience for level 90 dungeons trials in the 6.x Alliance raid dungeons. Sweet. I mean, that's normal, but still. We have one of our trials, which, of course, is, as I said, Tritok or Valagarmanda. We're assuming the Eliminator, I'm pretty sure we see him as a dungeon boss in the trailer. I'd have to go back and look. But we're assuming the other two trials are just going to be, you know, really well-kept secrets. And they are, because they're not here. Unreal trials have been temporarily disabled. Hey, today is the last Unreal trial you can do. So if you want to get one last hit of Fox Leaves, whether you want to spend them while nobody can actually earn them or save them till 7.1 to get the new rewards, that is up to you. But Unreal will be gone for the next 19 weeks. Technically 20 weeks from the day I'm recording this, but you know what I mean. It'll be gone until 7.1. Players will now receive the power of the Echo in Abyssal Fracture and Gilded Aria. Oh my, I forgot about the Gilded Aria. That's, yeah, wow. Yeah, so there's the normal mode ones, and then, of course, you know, Zeramis Extreme has the usual Extreme style Echo, and Anabasios is having its Echo boosted to 20%. Big deal. You know, if you need to go back, I guess if you want to get a Viper Picto weapon, that's nice. Or if you just want to go back to it one day and you want to just beat it, like level synced with Echo, it's fine too. The Spire of Trial. I like that name. It's the new Stone Sky Sea, and it takes place in the Solution 9 looking areas. Trial by Spire. That's good. That's good. Weekly restrictions on Anther clusters upon clearing Thalia has been removed, of course, because it's the level 90 raid. New elite mark, Squirrel. Makes me think maybe the Squirrel mount is a hunt mount. It's seeing the Earl model again. I mean, it's updated a little bit. And then we've got the evil, I was going to call, yeah, that's like a super evil Colibri, like the one we fought before, and then a Magic Pop Final Fantasy XI fans getting PTSD on that one. Players can now hunt regular and elite marks in new areas, just letting you know that the hunt is existing. You'll get it in Tuliolal at level 90. You just need to make sure you have the quest Elite and Dangerous and progress past the main scenario. Elite and Dangerous is like one of the old hunt quests. And then once the MSQ lets you unlock the new hunts, you'll be able to just grab it from this location. And it's still Sacks of Nuts, which means that if you were planning on buying Aetheryte tickets with Sacks of Nuts, I mean, maybe it'll say something here, but it's highly unlikely that you'll be able to buy teleport tickets with Sacks of Nuts. They want you to go back and do the old stuff if you want teleport tickets. So it is what it is. And this is just the NPC. Riabul Ja. Viper and Pictomancer arms now available from Deep Dungeons. That makes sense because they need weapon models for Deep Dungeon, which, to be fair, are like the anti-model. You know? It's just kind of smooth. It'll be one of their other models, but smooth and light. Allegan Tomestones of Aesthetics have been added. Yeah, this is just the new uncapped tome. There's nothing special about this. It works exactly the same as all the other uncapped tomestones. And the capped tomestone will be out the same day as Savage on July 30th, so you don't have to worry about weekly cap anything in terms of tomes for another 4 weeks after official launch. And then this is just a quick, like, explain. This was already explained in a separate post. You know, Poetics will be for everything level 90 and below, obtainable up to level 90 and from certain duty roulettes. And then, you know, just, you can't obtain any of the causality, you know, casuistry, astronomy, all the Endwalker tomes are gone. You'll just be able to exchange these two for Poetics. And if you haven't exchanged these, then you need to do it right now if you're still on any astronomy tomes. And then causality. Yeah, and then this is just explaining everything that's in the chart. So if you've been around for an expansion before, you'll have several months to exchange your causality and comedy for poetics. And it'll be like, I think it's like a 4-to-1 rate, 5-to-1 rate. Does it say anywhere here what the exact rate is? No, I swear, like, I think the way it was before, it was like, causality would be the uncapped tome would be like a 4-to-1, and I think the capped tome would be like a 5-to-1. So something in that vicinity. But yeah, they'll just turn into poetics. Following additions and adjustments have been made to the duty finder. Category names and duty lists have been reorganized. 6.x duties now be undertaken as an unrestricted party. And when using unrestricted, players can now elect to leave a duty even during combat. Huh. Interesting. I mean, I don't dislike it. It's just it's a nice thing to accommodate for. Raid Finder will now only list trials and duties introduced with 7.0, except of course for Ultimate, which will always be in the Raid Finder. Duty Finder has been adjusted. Oh, here we go. Does it? Yeah. Oh, okay. They did change it. All right. It was about time. It was about time. Duty Roulette Expert, Duty Roulette Leveling, and Duty Roulette Trials have had new stuff. And we finally have the long-awaited name change. 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90 is now called the High-Level Dungeon, or High-Level Dungeon Duty Roulette. Some people wanted to call it like the Capstone Roulette, and I was like, that's kind of confusing when they're not capstones anymore. It's like old capstones, and that's like not a great name. High-level makes sense. But man, I was really looking forward to 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and then 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And honestly, I was kind of hoping they would just keep doing it for the joke. You know, like it would have looked terrible. It would have absolutely deserved to be changed. But also, you know, so something even funnier about this. We're level 100 now. What about level 50 is high level? Like I know, don't worry. I'm just cracking jokes, but you know, still. And then these are the tombstone rewards for each of them. Very similar to what we already have, just updated for the new tombstones. And the requirements to register for Duty Roulette Alliance. Players must meet the average... Oh, so instead of the average item level to queue into something, you must now meet the highest item level requirement. They're really trying to make sure that whatever you're trying to do to get Crystal Tower, that you have to really commit. Yeah, you can't go, wow. All right, yeah. They're just making sure the highest item level requirements among the alliance raids they can enter at their current class or job level. To be fair, you still get Crystal Tower most of the time because there's a lot of new players. But this will mean that everybody is quite strong. And keep in mind, this doesn't stop people who are doing the story for these things from doing them. This is only for the roulette. So I think that's a positive change. I think that's a good thing. And it's only of the ones you've actually unlocked, as a reminder. PvP actions for Viper and Pictomancer, new items for Trophy Crystals and Wolf Marks. So I predicted that this would be PvP because I mean, we already have them in PvP. But wait a minute. I know there's going to be a size difference between these and the functioning ones. But that's still going to be wild. To imagine if you had like a team of like 24 people riding up in these in the battleground on top of whoever's actually doing it. What's also funny is the idea that we are just one step away from getting a Brute Justice mount at this point. So so this will be Series 6 beginning. This will be the reward. Series 6 will be held from 7.0 till 7.1 and will otherwise work the same as it did before. Season 11 for Crystalline Conflict will end and preseason will begin. Now, keep in mind that while preseason doesn't have like a reward for anything in particular, I believe they made mention that your ranking in preseason will determine your ranking going into the regular season in 7.1. So if that matters to you, you might want to look into it now. New items have been added. Yep, we've just got the new weapons, the new armor sets. The sight, dude, that sickle is something else, man. The kind of curvedness to this gunblade. I'm actually kind of a big fan of that. The gun looking really nice, actually, for the machinist there. And meanwhile, Red Mage just looks like they're disappointed in you, and they're doing the dominatrix whip hold of the cane. And, you know, I feel like that's unnecessary. That's not fair. Okay. Due to the volume of items, they will not be listed in the patch notes. Yeah. Time for a paddling. New recipes have been added. Facewear, which are the little glasses, have been added. Once you unlock them, they come in 12 different colors, and they're a completely separate tab. They're not part of the armory chest at all. You just need to unlock them and then put them on, and they'll be good. Is there anything in particular here? They'll also appear in portraits, which actually is a nice little detail. And the following fashion accessories have been converted into Facewear as well. Nice. Fashion accessories listed above will no longer appear in the fashion accessories window, but if you had them, then they will be added to the, may obtain the corresponding Facewear free of charge by speaking with the Calamity Salvagers. So if you want the new spectacles, Calamity Salvagers in the main cities from back in A Realm Reborn will be where you want to go. Items used to acquire these fashion accessories have not been removed from the game. If one is in your inventory or is being traded on the market board, you can still use that. Then they're adding new symbols to Fantasias and Retainer Fantasias, so it's easier to tell by just looking at the icon. Nice. Certain items may now be sold, desynthesized, submitted. Grade 8 Dark Matter works for level 91 to 100. Viper and Pictomancer have been added as required jobs for certain gear. Following items no longer classified as unique. All of our old Tombstone stuff, all of our old Tombstone accessories from throughout Endwalker are now going to be non-unique. So if you need another ring or if you need a second ring for any of these level ranges or for any of these items for any particular reason, then you can just have them. Double tome ring. Following addition adjustments have been made to dies. This is the whole double die system, which they went over in the live letter. You can have up to 2 dies on a single piece. Additional gear that allows for multiple dies will be gradually added in the future, so not everything will have the availability for it. But there's a whole lot of stuff here. You can favor a set of dies. It'll save previously applied dies. You can open another display window to see between this window, another display window, and your current active displayed window. So it's a fantastic feature. The only thing that still needs to happen with dies is either universal dies, like a yellow die or a black, or maybe for like the special rare ones they would leave it as is, but I think that's kind of like the one remaining thing is that like having yellow dye and then having like 12 different forms of yellow dye here is just a bit redundant, a lot redundant. So if there's any change they make to the dye system in the future, that's probably the one they should look into. But I think they'll probably still want to preserve some of the more expensive dyes. At least I know some of you will want them to preserve some of the more expensive dyes. Don't worry. I'm thinking of you. And then this is just explaining how it works. Again, if you watch the live letter, then you know, but nothing really new to cover there. Furnishings, sealing wax, and letter set now dyeable. Following items can now be equipped regardless of gender. Again, adding more stuff into that list that they've removed the gender lock from. Always a good thing. Sundry Splendors, a one-stop shop for gear and items purchased in exchange for Allegan tombstones and scripts have been added to... Oh, yeah. It's just a Sundry Splendors. Yeah, that makes sense. Just added to that. The layout of gear exchange menus has been unified. Man, I hate the way those NPCs look, and I'm curious. Following adjustments have been made to gear exchanges for tombstones of astronomy, causality. Oh, this is just letting you know that all of those are available for Poetics now, basically. And you no longer need to get the base and upgrade materials. You just outright buy the upgraded pieces. However, if you do have the base item for such gear, like if you have a piece of 650 credendum gear and you want to upgrade it to 660, you don't just buy the 660 piece, you'll just pay them 100 Poetics to upgrade it now. So that just works for all the old stuff, makes it nice and easy. New items added to Calamity Salvagers. New items available in exchange for silver. Oh, yeah, the Dawntrail stuff. Interesting. I wouldn't have expected that, but that works for me. Hey, get out of here. Sorry. I opened the Inspect tab by accident. Verdant Scepter and Warlock Buckler will no longer drop separately in Ormvale. It's crazy to think that how many years later and they merged the drop rates of these things. I mean, that's what these are for too, that these are like dropping together with the silver chocobo. That's funny. That's funny. New items are available in exchange for societal currencies from allied societies in 2.0 areas. New items for the really old stuff. Okay, that's nice. The time until actions may be used after consuming certain... Oh. Does this mean pots are now, like, cleanly weavable? I'm hoping that that's what it's referring to. Huh? Double weave with pots? That's a game changer, baby. If it works that way. And if it's usable. I swear, if it's just like, yeah, we just did it with spine drops, I'm gonna lose it. Oh, we just did it with X potions, I'm gonna lose it. You better be fixing my pots. It better not be cordials or ethers. It better be my main stat pots or and food at the same time. That way I can weave my food and not lose my GCD when I forget my food before the pull. After using the following items to grant a boost to experience points earned from synthesis, a system message will now be displayed when their effect expires. Oh, it's nice. Just a little bit of an extra heads up. Level cap for... It's crazy how the level cap for combat was like 30 minutes ago, and now they're getting to this. New scripts, of course. You know, the orange scripts have being added for crafters and gatherers. They went over this before. And then this just explains... Again, this is something we already have a post for. They've already explained this, but they're just throwing it again here in the patch notes. So... No longer obtainable from quest and leave quests for white crafter scripts and gatherer scripts, and then can no longer be used for item exchange. Yellow scripts have been removed entirely, and purple scripts required in exchange for items have been adjusted. Yeah, I always forget which one's the poetics equivalent, which of course would be purple. So the amount of types of crafters and gatherer scripts received from custom deliveries has been adjusted. Following change made to collectibles. Experience point reward when delivering collectibles will be standardized per item. The amount no longer... being reduced at lower levels. That's really nice. Experience points rewarded when using... oh, yeah, and then this is just level capping old ones. So you can't turn in like a bunch of collectibles to go from 90 to 91. The EXP is just not worth it. They've done that before. New actions and traits for crafters, for disciples of hand in particular, so crafters. Categories under special recipes in the crafting log have been adjusted. Restoration 1, 2, 3, and 4 are just under the restoration tab now. Thank goodness. New actions and traits have been added for disciples of land, and miner and botanist actions can no longer be used when a gathering point is at maximum integrity. Solid reason and wise to the world, and ageless words and wise to the world. New miner and botanist gathering points. New items added to gathering points will now display the integrity at the top. They showed us that during the live letter. New fishing holes, new teeming waters. Bait and tackle window will now also display swim bait, a new form of bait obtained using the level 91 Fisher action Spareful Hand. Interesting. Swim bait. So I guess just like reaching out and grabbing fish while holding bait. That's what it sounds like to me at the very least. Fish guide will indicate whether a fish requires precision hook set or powerful hook set. Nice. They showed us that during the live letter as well. Following the increase in the level cap, the following adjustments have been made to rewards during ocean fishing. Yeah, they're just updating the scripts from it. GP will no longer be reduced to 0 when players are incapacitated as a non-gathering class. Spirit bond gained when gathering will now be based on gear's equipping level rather than its item level. That makes things much more standardized, makes getting materia for gear a lot more standardized. So that's really good. Players will now receive a bonus to spirit bonding when landing a big fish or legendary fish. Thank you, I suppose. New regional folklore, tomes, new items that can be used for ethereal reduction, desynthesis getting all of its usual level updates, and after checking the desynthesized entire stack box, this option will remain checked even after desynthesizing unstackable or single items. Okay, yeah, that's if you know you're going to do that, just be careful. Maybe you don't want to desynthesize an entire stack. You probably do every time, to be fair. New mounts, hey, we've got the alpaca. New minions, we've got the cat. We've got the manatee. The new chocobo barding, that's snazzy. That's snazzy. The cactar sitting on the back also is quite interesting. That's a nice little tidbit. But, you know, that's a pretty snazzy looking chocobo right there. New fashion accessories with the umbrellas, the graphical updates, which, you know, I don't need to break this down for every single thing. You're going to go in the game. You're going to find the things that work or don't work. We saw what happened with the character creator and how everybody, you know, made sure to keep an eye on it before, muddled and undetailed, after, not muddled and actually detailed. Cloth with actual seams and lines in it, before, after, that's a lot better. Number of light sources used for shadows has been increased. Yeah. This is all, just letting you know the graphics update is in the patch, you know. And then on top of that, now we have the character creation changes, you know, the different lighting settings, character combat voices can now be sampled. So some additional sampling for that is really nice. Using the esthetician, the display of headgear and facewear can now be toggled on or off. I am shocked that wasn't there before. Editing a character appearance. Oh, yeah. And then this is just explaining the way the new Fantasias work. Now, when you use a Fantasia, you have 60 in-game minutes to make changes. So if you log in and you're logged in for 1 minute and you go, you know what? Never mind. I don't like this thing. You can log out and you'll still have 59 more in-game minutes to make changes with your Fantasias. So it's really good. It means that you don't have to make the mistake and then immediately spend money on another one, which, listen, let me put it this way. If Square Enix ever gave out affiliate codes for the MOG Station, and I gave you mine, and on Fantasia sales alone, they gave me like 0.1% of a sale, I could probably retire on the Cayman Islands. All right? I don't want to retire on the Cayman Islands, but it's the possibility. So, just saying, this will save you a little bit of money. All right. The new market board has been added to Tuliolal. That's where your market board is, which we expected because old Charlian had the one before. I guess that doesn't make sense because they're both around the same time. So I don't know why I expected. I expected one of the because this one's available early. So obviously they want the early one to have the market board, whereas before, no, that checks. And technically, while you do go to Thavnair, you know, you can't actually use it for a while. So it is still a sooner or later thing. That part kind of slipped my mind when it came to the way the MSU locks you out of using a lot of stuff when you go to Thavnair. Following additions and adjustments have been made to retainers. They can now be registered at Tuliolal, female Hrothgars, level 100. They can be Viper and Pictomancer. New retainer ventures and new items from quick ventures. New achievements, new titles. Elite marks will now be displayed in the recommendation list. That's interesting. The guild cost for using teleport has been adjusted. With the addition of new areas, the world map has been updated. Following adjustments have been made to maps, just maps in general. The positions of the red arrows indicating area boundaries have been adjusted, and they will all display at a high resolution quality. Nice. Also, following this change, the graphic setting for map resolutions, but it's just automatically high resolution now. Player search menu, Viper and Picto in 7.0 areas. Size of the online status pull-down menu has been increased when searching. Target information. When a target's remaining HP is set to be displayed as a percentage, decimal values will now always be shown. When the setting display only... So that in the focus menu, for example... On the focus target bar, it'll do the same thing. When the setting display only detrimental effects you inflict is enabled, it will only apply to enemy targets. Following this change, the name of the setting has been adjusted to display only detrimental effects you inflict on target. All right, just a little bit more clarity and specifically stating that it will be applied to enemy targets and not to anything that's not your enemy specifically. Following additions and adjustments have been made to the actions and trait menu. This is all the stuff you saw from the live letter with the action change settings, which you can do depending on the action. Some of them you may personally want to keep separated. Some of them you may want to consolidate. And it gives you the choice to do one or the other. A lot of people ask me for the media tour, like, oh, did you not try that feature to condense the actions? And I was like, no, they were all on by default. That's just what it looks like when they're all condensed. Because some people were expecting more things to be condensed, and those things are not. So, unless they changed it, going into full release. But I doubt it. Following additions and adjustments have been made to job gauges. They've been added to or adjusted. Look at Black Mage. Just add something else onto the black. Every expansion now. You know how they were adding 50, 60, 70, 80, and I was disappointed when it was not 90? I'm going to be disappointed when we eventually come back and the Black Mage gauge is something completely different, because I look forward to seeing something new added to the Black Mage gauge every expansion to see just how ridiculous they can make the Black Mage job gauges look just over time. This one, they just added something else. They didn't try to slap it back on to the main bit. But I'm always going to keep an eye on it because it's one of the funniest things to me. Glamour Guide has been added to the following windows, explaining the usage of various fashion-related features such as dyes and glamour. That's good. That's actually a really good thing. I'm glad they're putting that in the game. Descriptions in the help menu of emotes window has been adjusted. Viewing a repair request, item details will now include information pertaining to dyes and affixed materia. When viewing items attached to a MOG letter, the item details will now include information pertaining to dyes and affixed materia. The requirement to keep new adventurer status has been updated. Have played less than 300 hours and have not completed the main scenario quest Death Until Dawn. Now it's just the coming Dawn, which is the end of Endwalker. So, we had the end of Shadowbringers. Now we have the end of Endwalker for the requirement. You'll be a new adventurer up to that point. And then the bonus to experience points earned when a mentor forms a party with a new adventurer will now apply to level 90. In accordance with the increased level cap, requirements for mentors have been adjusted. Yeah, we expected this level 100 for, you know, tank, healer, melee, and then complete at least 1,000 dungeon shots. So here's the thing. They made mention recently that they wanted to update the mentor system. And I was like, I wonder if they're just referring to this, because this was always going to happen. But when they mentioned it alongside changes that they made to the blacklist, and that they were planning on making changes to the friends list. So I don't think it's referring to this. I think we have more mentor system changes coming. And to be frank, we really, really need them, because the mentor system, listen, some of y'all are fine. A lot of y'all are not. I always say this. If your first instinct as a mentor is you get into an instance and your first instinct is to leave, you shouldn't be a mentor. I tweeted that one time. The amount of angry Burger King hat wearing motherfuckers who showed up was way too many. That should have been like 1 or 2 people that were upset about that. There were a lot of people upset about that. So I'm just going to say it again and take with it what you will. And then, of course, for the disciples of hand or land, those, of course, go up as well with the collectibles and all that. But it's just level 100, you know, essentially. On a disciple of hand and land. Mentor renewal. This is the same as it was before. Just all the same things from when Endwalker released. Log message will now be displayed when newly created characters on a newer preferred world meet the requirements to receive a guild bonus. Nice little extra heads up. New accents have been added. Of course they have. Color of lettering on the base plate of the 12-fold Blessing Framers kit has been changed to black. Following additions. Oh, you know what? I'm willing to bet the Realm Reborn things from earlier might have been stuff like framer kits. I hadn't even thought about that. The following additions and adjustments have been made to portraits. New accents have been added. New poses. When viewing the edit portrait interface, new filters are available for everything. When hiding the display of headgear, the setting will apply to instant portraits even after changing headgear. Okay. Following changes have been made to group pose. New stickers. The patch logo being added. All right. Using monitors with a resolution wider than 16:9, screenshots taken from certain cutscenes or certain frames of group posts will have copyright information placed within the bounds of a 16:9 resolution. All right. Copyright information displayed in screenshots has been adjusted. Yeah, that looks way better than this entire mess right here. Yeah, good call. Much better call. Duties that can be... Oh, yeah, the duty recorder. Oh, great. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I'm so grateful to... See, that's getting some new instances updated for, yeah, anyway. Log message display when a congested area is inaccessible has been adjusted. A button to temporarily hide display of chat log has been added. I actually really like that. The following changes have been made to alarms. Oh, God, I forgot about alarm. I still think it's a great feature. I just haven't used it, so I forgot about it. You can do up to 30 alarms. Character limit for alarm names has been increased to 20. The layout for the editor has changed. Sound options available for alarms. Sound options being available is the big one. Honestly, like, this is nice. This is nice. Yeah. Alarm sounds can now be muted while undertaking duties. Yeah, that's probably for the best. Or not. No, just let them blow my eardrum out the entire time. Following adjustments have been made to the blacklist. Yeah, then this is all the blacklist changes. Characters registered to the blacklist will be hidden. We saw a lot of this from the media tour. They also showcased it in the live letter. Messages from characters registered to the blacklist will be hidden. It will apply to all characters tied to the blacklisted character's service account. The blacklist tab has been removed from the social window and has its own social function now. Players can save comments regarding blacklisted characters. Really nice. And blacklisted characters and all characters tied to the service account will also be subject to the lodestone blocked users list. Excellent. Mute list is similar, but not quite as bad. Muting is just a matter of, making it so you don't hear them, you don't see what they're typing, but they're not completely gone from your vision. That's for, like, if you've ever been in, like, a raid group and you, like, get along with, like, 6 of the 7 other people, but there's that one person that you're just like, man, I wish that guy wouldn't talk. Now you don't have to worry about it. At least not when they type in game. Or when you're in PF, you're like, well, I don't want to not play with that person, technically. But I also... Oh, well, actually, yeah, I forgot. If they're members of your party or alliance, notification will be displayed. Yeah, so you can't even do that. Oh, man. I forgot that was a function of it. Man. All right, well, never mind. Just mutes them outside of it. It's been a while. The mute function is not one I probably plan on using much, so I had forgotten. man. Term filter has been added, allowing players to mask messages. Yeah, term filter, on the other hand, very, very good. And it works very well. I tested this during the media tour as well. Just that the text in the window is unfinished, so I couldn't show it to you. And yeah, it's a nice little function. And also the half width and full width cannot be registered, so bear that in mind if you were going to try to do that, which unfortunately is going to lead to a few abuse cases. But what are you going to do? There's always going to be abuse cases. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do things. Up to 10 words can be registered, each with its own individual settings. So one thing I'm hoping happens, and it's kind of a tough thing to do, but very often there are people like me who complete the story really quickly, and some people are far more public about talking about that stuff. So I wonder if anyone's gonna like add stuff to like I wonder if there's gonna be like a new Reddit post, like a thing where people say, oh, recommended term filters for patch 7.1, or like for anyone who's like getting to it late or isn't doing super quick. Me, I'm just gonna block all the DJ stuff. Because listen, nothing wrong with it. I'm tired of every time I go to Limsa, it just being nightclub shouts every time. Listen, I can only blacklist so many people who do that. I need a term filter to help with the general application of it. Saving registered words, yeah. In order to reduce server congestion, following measures will be implemented. This is all the travel restrictions that we went over the other day. The inactive for 30 minutes will cause you to be logged out automatically, and we'll have multiple instances as well. Players can now use the mouse to drag and drop actions. This is so long overdue. Holy moly. Of all the things when I occasionally played with controller just to mess around, not being able to do this was the single most infuriating thing about it. I hated doing the traditional assignment to the cross hotbar. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Gradation of the main menu background and gamepad mode has been adjusted to improve visibility. DualSense Edge wireless controller can now be used on Windows. DualSense wireless controllers and DualSense Edge wireless controllers can now be used via Bluetooth on Windows. Awesome and awesomer. When connected to a 120 hertz monitor, the maximum frame rate for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S is now 120. That's solid. Really like that. It's changed to the maximum frame rate, but your game still has to reach that frame rate. So, just saying. When playing on the consoles, trophies and achievements can be obtained or unlocked if their requirements have been fulfilled while playing on other platforms. That's such good news to so many people. Oh my goodness. So, okay, it's good news for some. It's bad news for the people who were redoing achievements because it didn't work. I know people who like specifically redid certain achievements or like redid things in game. Did it work for PlayStation? Okay, so this might just be an Xbox thing because I know people who have said they've logged over to PlayStation like, oh, I'll just do this again to get it, blah blah blah. So yeah, I mean, some things I think you still have to do that with. Like I think, for example, if you've beaten, I think there's one for like soloing all of Palace. I don't remember if that one unlocks if you don't do it on the actual console, but that's me not remembering, so I don't remember. Following options have been added to character configuration. This is the hide nearby players. This is all the Windows stuff. Supplementary explanations of graphical options. That's nice. I really like the little exclamation marks here. Following adjustments have been made to system config. Frame rate settings under have been changed. Oh, okay. So this is nice because some people have like really weird hertz. Like, I guess it's not even weird. They have like a 144 hertz monitor. And they'll be like, oh, I want to play at 60 FPS. And they end up playing at 72. And believe it or not, that can actually be kind of weird for Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy doesn't really handle being over 60 FPS in some ways very well. Especially as you get really high over it. And then some, yeah. But it just means that you can actually just lock into 60. Or your main display refresh rate. Obviously, most people who have monitors with higher refresh rates, they know they can manually adjust it as well in their actual settings for their PC. So there's now you have all the options. Resolution, 3D resolution scaling. Yeah, this is all the upscaling and stuff they added. Frame rate thresholds and dynamic grass. Yeah, these are all the new graphic options. They've already gone through and shown us a bunch of this stuff when we both saw it in the media tour, as well as they showed a bunch of this on stream and like what it looked like and the difference and explained everything. So I'm not going to go into like great detail on all of this. And then also The console versions having the frame rate limitations. The graphic setting tab has been added for movement physics, dynamic resolution, low detail models on distant objects, as well as like certain qualities for like draw quality, dynamic resolution, like things depending on if you're playing on PlayStation 4 or 5 or Xbox Series X or S. Then we have the text command / Facewear list, auto target priority, mute list, term filter, visual alerts, color filtering. Oh yeah, it's great. Yeah, this doesn't make me look like an acid trip at all. Following text commands can be used to adjust volume levels even during events. Okay, so funny thing is I actually was trying to change this like not too long ago, and I didn't realize you couldn't do it during a cutscene. So this actually affected me very recently, and it's especially important because of this one, where you get used to playing with voices off for any given time, and you go into new cutscenes, you're like, crap, I forgot, and you can't type /voice, but now you can fix it. So glad to see that this now works even when in the middle of cutscenes or volume's too loud or literally any problem you could have. But like they're just naming some examples. New parameters have been added to the HUD text for job gauge 1 and 2. They can be used to toggle the display of job gauges. Parameters have been added to the alarm. That looks, oh my. So those are the alerts for the alarm command now, huh? Or mute. New parameters for new jobs and areas have been added to the search text command. New parameters have been added to the pet size text command for Solar Bahamut. Yeah, great. Yeah, where's pet size text command give us a different summon? I don't see that here. I don't think that. Maybe they'll patch it in the future. They'll add it. Yeah, that's totally. Additions have been made to the auto translation dictionary, PlayStation 4 or 5 autocomplete, new trophies and achievements, and music sound effects. This is all the normal stuff at the end. Layout of the game, title. Don't forget, this is going to be absolutely eye-shattering, I suppose. So be careful if it's 3 in the morning for you. Following additions and adjustments have been made to the title screen. Options and license. Configuration has been renamed to system configuration. It can now be found under the options at the title screen. Installation details have been added within options. Game version displayed at the top left. Now only includes the base package and most recent expansion. Notification will now be displayed when a player is logged out due to inactivity. Oh, that's actually really good. Yeah, so if you were specifically logged out because of inactivity, then it lets you know. That's nice. Trust me, I'll be on top of it, but that's nice. Display of certain world names has been changed in the world selection window. World names will no longer include a region label, regardless of game client language. To registering to use the world visit system, accessing an Aetheryte and selecting visit another world server will display your pending registration. That's good. Retainer ventures now being usable from the companion app. You do need to use the currency on the app in order to do it, but you can now do all of that. And Viper and Pictomancer have been added to Palace of Dead Heaven on High and Eureka Orthos solo rankings on the leaderboard. Woo! Now, you might be wondering where some things are. The job-related stuff we won't have until the full patch notes, and by the time we have the full patch notes, we probably won't care. I'm almost certain that's going to be on the 28th that we actually get it. That's pretty normal for full notes and not when the servers go down. I mean, maybe they'll do it Thursday when they're doing the patch note reading. But again, I haven't looked at what they did for previous expansions in a while, and I'm almost certain that this is going to be like an after the servers are up kind of thing. So honestly, I think at this point, it's not like it would change. It's not like the outrage, the quote-unquote outrage, please, would be any different if they released it now versus a few days from now. They just don't want to have to... Listen, they genuinely, when it comes to an expansion launch, they just don't... Like, we're going to have headaches. Let's have 3 days less headaches. You know? Like, that's smart. They're looking out for their own mental on that one. And I can't fault them for that. They don't need to, but I can't fault them for that. But anyway, that is it for the preliminary patch notes for Dawntrail. Mostly stuff we knew and expected. A few little interesting tidbits in there. Obviously, the raider in me looks at this and thinks 2 things. 1, please let that pot change be related to combat pots so they can be better weaved. And 2, oh, look, my raid planner is still not here. I wonder what happened to it. So everything else was just within the line of expectation with a few little bonus tidbits thrown in here or there. But that is going to be a wrap for my overview on the preliminary patch notes. So, aloha. No, the video is almost done. You want to say goodbye for the end of the video? Come here. Aloha. Come here. Come here for the end of the video. Here. Yeah, there you go. No. Come here. Ah, there you are. All right. So, that's going to be a wrap for this video. Be sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned. I'll be posting all sorts of stuff for Dawntrail, largely spoiler-free. Unless we know stuff, like obviously we know about Valagarmanda, so I'm not going to like spoiler tag that on YouTube thumbnails or anything. But like the second or third trial or dungeons we haven't seen, and I'm not going to be posting like story spoilers or anything like that either. And anything that is spoiler tagged will be untagged after like 5 or 6 days or something like that, just because YouTube doesn't really like the ambiguous titles, and it makes it easier for people who want to find it later to actually find it. So thank you for watching. I will see all of you in the next video. I'm going to get back to my live streams now, and until then, take care.